Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Wakefulness Theology. My name is Messenger Paula, and this is part two of the long-running series 1111 Melchizedek Priesthood of Melchizedek Gems in the Ephod, Netflix's Trollhunter, talking about the characters and the archetypes and the four groups of people who will be rescued from the day of wrath in Revelation 12. So if you missed the first part of this video, you should go back and see it because it's really deep and it's not something you can just jump into. Also, if you don't know what Wakefulness Theology is, I have lots of playlists called What is Wakefulness Theology? Just go back and look at that. This is really a spiritual, mature subject for the body of Christ, so it's not something to take lightly. Please go back and look at those videos before you jump into this one if you haven't seen it, okay? But for the rest of us, let's continue. So I'll try to make this quick, a quick recap of the characters. We have Jim Lake, and now that I've been working on this for a while, I'm quite certain that it's Yeshua, definitely, and I assume the 1111 Melchizedek priesthood. I'm learning and understanding this stuff at the same time I'm telling you guys, so this is a great time. After you see this video, you'll have more information and you can go back and look at the cartoons and pray and meditate, and maybe we can understand together what is the real difference between Yeshua, the Melchizedek priesthood, and the 144,000. At this moment, I don't have all of the answers, but I'm quite sure that Jim Lake represents that, okay? And the reason is because when he says when two or more of us are together, that he is in the midst of us, and that follows the same message that he gave me when he said, I will dress you like Daniel 3. And in that story of Daniel 3, there were three men that went into the fire, but when the king Nebuchadnezzar looked into the fire, he saw 4 men. And again, that represents the 4 groups. So there's so many signs that are saying that, you know, there are the 4 groups and Yeshua is among us, you know. So Claire Nunez, his love interest, she represents the bride, the woman of Revelation 12, and the 144,000. That I'm pretty sure of because I've been dealing with this now. I will talk about Claire more later in the video. Toby, he represents the 2 witnesses from what I understand. I'll show you guys the proof later in this video and then we can figure it out together, but that's what I understand for the moment. Arg represents the people who have known the Father and have left, so we call them the leaves. People who were in the church, in the fold, and are no longer, they don't believe anymore, I guess. If you are a leave, please come back. Blinky, he represents our spirit guides, our angels who are protecting us and helping us and teaching us. Bular, he represents the gatekeepers, and I'm going to talk about that more extensively in this video. Walter Strickler, we talked about in the last video, and he represents the demons that are inside people, but it's to make us stronger. The elect, the end time ministers, tribulation saints, it's for us, you know, we have to fight the powers of darkness to get our stones. So it's to make us sharper. The scythe, to sharpen the scythe, and the scythe is what will be used for the harvest. Now, Draw, he represents, we talked about him a lot in the last video. He's the first of the group of children to go home to the Father by water, represented by Agat and the Levi, the group, the Levites. And not Enrique. He represents the false Jews, the false teachers, the false prophets, everything that is not what it says it is. So the imposters. And we have and we will have a lot of those. So in general, in this video, this is the second part, we've talked about 5 groups. Because of the sister's dream, they were on the grass, and the brother that was with them, the teacher or the whatever presenter, he said that they can get into groups up to 5 people. So that's where I got the 5 from her dream. We know that the first group to go home soon right here, Draw, so that leaves the 4. In this video, I'm going to talk extensively about that. So James, who represents Yeshua in the 11:11, will never see death. Lexi, the love interest, we will talk about her being the Greek child, because in the sister's dream, there was a boy child and he was Greek, right? And it's the same as the name of the town is Arcadia, and we were talking about that as Greek. So she is from Arcadia, where we are now, the regular world, while there's peace in there. James will save her. And just like in the sister's dream, the character in the sister's dream was saved from the river. And if I understand everything correctly, Lexi will not see death either, as far as prophecy in the Bible, right? So those are 2 groups of people that will not see death. Toby, I believe he's representing the 2 witnesses. Now this is not hardcore stone proof right now, but I'll analyze him and you guys can see and we can discuss. But I believe for the moment it seems like he's representing the witness, Miss Lake, which is his mom, Jim's mom. I'm not going to really talk about her that much in this video. We'll get to her in the next video when I talk about the villains. But in general, she seems, from my understanding right now, she seems to represent the multitudes of people who get saved by the tribulation end time ministers. So, yeah, the people who are being deceived right now, but a lot of them will come home to the Father. That's the people that we have to go out there and get, right? The harvest. That's why we have the pre-harvest. We are to help with that. And that is represented by his mother. And there you go. So let's get back to the story. Okay, so in this part, we're going to continue on. Right under here, our gathering for the completion of Killahead Bridge, which we talked about in the last video a little bit. Which will be a portal for the Gum-Gums from the Dark Lands. So these are the evil beings. The Dark Lands is the world after the tribulation. So we're talking about Armageddon, pretty much. And the project is being led by Bular, the son of the Gum-Gum leader, Gunmar. So Gunmar is who is representing Satan, pretty much. We don't see him a lot in this cartoon because he is in the Dark Lands, and so that is happening in the future with Armageddon. But right now we're going to look at Bular. So Bular, that's his picture right here, and the actor who plays him is Ron Perlman, and we can see his information right here. So I thought it was super funny that his name is Pearl, because it's right here, Revelation 21, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls, and each gate and each of the gates made of a single pearl, and the streets of the city were pure gold, like transparent glass. So it's literally, y'all, okay, this character represents the gatekeeper. He represents the gatekeeper. And this is his gate. This is the Killahead Bridge. And I told you that in the real world, It is the Ark of Palmyra, the Arch of Palmyra. We'll come back into that. I'll do in the next video, I believe, we talk about the symbols in the TV show. So I'll come back to that. But in general, he is rebuilding this bridge to bring his father, who is Satan, into the world. And so he is the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper in real life are all those people like the Pharisees, the Pope, and these people who will keep us from knowledge. They will not enter, and they will not allow us to enter. These are gatekeepers, okay? And even when people talk about the Illuminati and all of that, they have gatekeepers. That's what he is representing, okay? And it just is so funny because it's supported by the name of the actor. In that case, it's the gates, but to heaven, right? So this is strange because you have to think a gate, any kind of gate, it goes both ways. So it's the gate to heaven and hell. On one side is the tribulation, or one side is Armageddon, and the other side is heaven, or in this case, Trollville, which we said represents the wilderness where the woman of Revelation 12 will be protected for a time and a half. So yes, it's right here before us. Now, what does this say? Oh, I put this right here because I thought it was so funny. You see this picture of Revelation 1, even the screenshot that I took is 144. So of course you don't need to have the 0, it's a placeholder, so it's the 144. So I just thought that was awesome. And also at the end of the part 1 of this video, when I was at the very end, when I was talking about, I was summing up the message, saying that we should be focusing on getting our stones, fighting the darkness, the powers of darkness, to get our stones, to get our powers, you know, and all of that. The time was 1441. So either way, yeah, it read 144 frontwards and 144 backwards. And it's just amazing. It's a sign that I am interpreting the message correctly. So I thought that was awesome. So here we go. This is talking about the wall of New Jerusalem, and it's 144 cubits. There's something very important here that has to do with this wall that I'm going to come back and talk about later because it's connected to the dream I had about the submarine, and it's connected to the dream that the brother Rob from Sharing Gifts, he had about the boat. He had about the dream he had about Troll Market, and we had that wall. And so this is very important because we are represented as the walls, and I'll prove that later when we talk about the symbols of the cartoon. But I just wanted I wanted you to take notice of this now. Okay, so this is the gatekeeper. It's shown, it's proven because his name is Ron Perlman, right? And the pearls of the pearly gates. Y'all, this is so funny. This is so funny. His wife, or it says spouse, we don't know. His spouse's name is Opal Stone. Now I hope you guys don't. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just look. Opal Stone. His spouse's name is Opal Stone. His name is Perlman. Okay, so I had to look that up. So, and the third row is opal, agate, and amethyst. I told you in the last video that the 4 groups of people represent the 4 rows of the Ephod. We're actually 5 groups, but the first group will be leaving and going to heaven in some kind of death that has to do with water in the near future. I assumed, I guessed, well, I believe it's possible that it could be telling us it's 2019 because Jim, his name means follow me. And in the timeline we did with John 21, there's the verse John 21:19 that represents the year 2019, and in it says follow me, and that this will be, it was Jesus was saying how his death will honor him And so I just kind of put together the follow me with the death and then the timeline of 2019, John 21:19. And I am just putting pieces together and saying that it is possible, if I'm reading these pieces correctly, that it could point to April 2019 to April 2020, because that is a Hebrew year. So I guess we'll see, Okay, so there's the people that leave, us, and 3 other groups. The people that leave is represented by a gat, and now we have another sign with the opal right here. Let's look at that. So this verse that I just told you about, this is Exodus 28:19. 19 is down here. But if we just read a little bit up here, it's talking about, and bring thou near unto thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from the midst of the son of Israel. I remember there was someone talking about being in the midst, and that was, I think it was Sister Diana, for his being priest to me, priest. 11:11. And thou hast made holy garments for Aaron thy brother for honor and for beauty. And I told you guys there's a whole dream list about the message that the Father gave me. I will dress you like Daniel 3, meaning we will be protected. And pretty much that is righteousness, right? That's right here again. And thou doth speak unto all the wise of heart, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, and they have made the garments of Aaron to sanctify him for his being priest to me. And these are the garments that they will make. So y'all, this is the armor that you get with the stones. The stones make the armor. I mean, I know I'm talking about, like, it's just like in a cartoon. That's why I said you have to see the cartoon to, like, have a visual for this stuff that's all mixed up in our heads. It's just like in the cartoon. He puts the stone in the amulet, and then he goes like this, and then the armor just comes to him, and then he comes down, and he's like, whoa, It's just like that. It is power that we earn. We earn every time you do a challenge, every time you're fighting the powers of the spiritual powers of darkness and all of that, you get a stone and you get a power. So these powers, we got the breastplate and the ephod, and we get 4, and an upper robe and a coat and a girdle, and all of these garments, parts of the suit. Now, I'm going to play the video of sharing gifts just after this, because he was talking about that in just his last video. And in his video, he's putting everything in order, and it's following the same thing I'm telling you guys now. So I don't know if it was a dream or if I was waking up or going to sleep. I think it was a dream. And then I woke up and tried to remember it and write it down. What I had is that the first stone is for healing. And now I had this April 26th. So I got that before I knew anything about this agate stone, which represents healing. And I'll tell you that in a minute. So the first one is healing. The second one is the word, which is the sword. The third one is protection, which is the shield. And then the fourth one is prophecy. So this is representing what the holy garments are and the power to give us. And they take gold, the blue, the purple, the scarlet, the linen, and have made the ephod of gold. Oh, this is funny. I have made the ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet, and twined linen, work of a designer. It's so funny. He said, he called me the designer. In that thing, he said the designer is to write into destruction, everything into destruction every day. And that was what the Father told me, or the Holy Spirit told me in 2015 when I started writing every day. And he called me the designer. That's so funny. And you know what, here when it says twined linen, and it's talking about this kind of braiding the thing together, twines. That's what Marlboro means. Remember, guys, when I found the 4 packs of Marlboro, I did the video about why did God give me 4 packs of Marlboro Lights. I looked up the meaning of the name because it was a brother who watches the videos, and he said Marlboro Lights. He said we are also the lights, and so that made me look up the name of Marlboro, and it means, look what it means. It's like the donuts that are braided together. That's what it means to like right here, to joining at the 2 ends, the work of the designer. Look at that. It's just confirmation that this message is real. He is telling us this right here. And the girdle of the ephod, which is on him according to his work, is the same as the gold, the blue, the purple, the scarlet, and the twined linen. And thou hast taken the 2 shoham stones and hast opened on them the names of the son of Israel. Now this is exactly what the brother is talking about. I think I'm gonna pause here, let him talk, and then come back and finish.
So then the next stream I want to share, or the next thing, word that I received, I heard, I put the name in their people. So I was like, what name are you talking about, Lord? Like, are you talking about your name? And what people are you talking about? So he gave me a few scriptures on this as I looked things up. So Numbers 6:27 says, and they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Then Isaiah 44:5 says, one shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. And then 2 Chronicles 6:6 says, but I have chosen Jerusalem that my name might be there, and have chosen David to be over my people Israel.
Okay, so look, it's just what he said. Look at where my arrow is. It says number 10, 6 of their names on the 1 stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the 2nd stone according to their births. So we're talking about putting the stones, we're talking about putting the names on the stones. Here we're talking about the holy garments, okay? And I already explained that. Now the holy garments is once what we're getting, as we're getting the stones, we're getting our garment as well. And so what I'm telling you about, there are 4 groups of people that will escape the wrath. And it says the same thing right here. Gold is 1, blue is 2, purple is 3, and scarlet is 4. Now the fine linen is what you're using to, it's twined linen, it's not a stone. You know, I guess if, for example, if this was linen, you know, these are the stones, and then this is what you are tying them together with. So it's four groups of people. And so here, again, it's four stones. I said 4 groups, and that's why it's 4 groups. We collect 4 stones. All the 12 tribes are the Ephod for Yeshua when he comes back. So here, and thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, engrave on them the names of the children of Israel. So what I want to show you is that these 2 onyx stones represents, you see the children? It's just like in our sister's dream. They had 4, they rescued 4 from the river, and she took 2. So this is just, I don't know, it's just a website I went to show you guys that the onyx represents people. It represents us, right? The river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and that's what the brother dreamed from the last, he sharing the gifts, Brother Rob. He said the people got in the river and then they came out, it was dirty water, and they came out on the other side. So that's what I was saying. This is like traveling through dimensions. So the river of life flows down New Jerusalem, right? So that's here, out of Eden. And there it divided and became 4 rivers. Again, 4 groups of people. The first is Pishon, and then it is the one that flowed around the whole land and where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. And then you had these 2 stones that are there. These are representing the people. And the second river, and then the third river, and then the 4th river. So that right there is representing people. So like he said in his dream,
I heard, I put the name in their people.
And thou shalt set the stones in the 4 rows, and the stones will be with the names of the children of Israel. So we are the stones that Jesus comes to collect for his Ephod, and our names are written in us. He gives us, like the stars, he gives us a new name and a number. I don't know what else to say. I told you the name of the Most High Father is represented by Pi, or that is his name, that he said it's his name. He told me that that was his name. So I don't know, it seems very clear to me. I don't know if this is clear to you guys or if I'm explaining it well. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart. That is right there. That is the brother's dream. Brother Rob from Sharing Gifts, and that's what the Father was explaining right here. And then to wrap it all off and to tie it into Trollhunters, this verse right here in the 3rd row is opal, agate, and amethyst. And his spouse is opal stone, and his name is Ron Perlman. Come on. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's just the Father, yeah, he is literally like doing everything possible to get this message to us. Look at this, y'all. Look at this, brothers and sisters. This is way above and beyond any kind of possible coincidence. Look at this. So he is the gatekeeper in the TV show. So again, back to Brother Rob's dream. This is the armor dream that he had. And again, it is the breastplate. So we have this Ephod, and we collect the 4 stones as we fight the powers of darkness. And with each stone we get a power. And I told you earlier what that power is. And here the brother Rob from Sharing the Gifts, in this video I played earlier, and in the last video as well. Later this giant spider. It was also in the Black Mirror. There was that spider. Remember we talked about that? It's also in Puss in Boots, because I told you in the last video that Puss in Boots is also prophetic. It's done by the same people on Netflix, and it's the same prophetic story. It's just told differently, but there's a giant spider in there as well. So before this series is over, I'm going to touch on Puss in Boots. The next character is Lexi Medrano, and her name is Claire Nunez. The character is called Claire Nunez, and the actress is called Lexi Medrano. So this is really funny. Lexi, you can read this. It's his love interest, okay? Lexi, as a name for girls, is Greek. Lexi, as a name for girls, is Greek. Remember I told you in the first video to remember that the thing is Greek, because the name of the street, Arcadia, is of Greek comes from Greek, is a Greek word. And then the sister's dream, she said the boy was Greek. And here we go again. Lexi, his love interest, her name is Greek, okay? And it means a man's defender, man, defender. And Lexi is a version of Alexandra, a variant of Alexander, and Lexi is also derivative of Alex. So it's originally a boy's name. Lexi is also used as a derivative of Lexi. So again, it's originally a boy's name, but it can be used, or it is now used, for girls. This is really, really important. I'm about to point that out to you right now. And as well, you see this right here. We also have that in the black mirror that we talked about. And this shape right here, I'm going to talk about it in the next video when we decode these symbols that are in the TV show. This is really, really important. This is, wow, it's crazy. But this is the shadow staff that she gets from fighting. His name is Angerat, and as I said in the last video, he represents the beast system. He represents tribulation, but this represents tribulation and the beast system. So she's fighting him. He has that staff, the shadow staff, and she takes it from him. So he's trying to get it back, and he says,
"A staff of such power is not meant to be wielded by man."
And then she goes, and then, oh, by the way, notice he has the one eye. We'll talk about that later as well. And then she goes, "I am not a man." So it's very important, her name representing the fact that it was originally a man name, but it's taken for a woman, and she is the defender of man. So this is very important because a lot of people, they're misinterpreting the 144 when it says that they are virgin men. They're misinterpreting that. When you look up the verse in the original Hebrew, it's saying also it could be translated as mankind. All of these translations were done, with the people, the scribes, and it says in the Bible that the scribes do lie, okay, or they misinterpret it. They were human. They didn't have computers, and the common man back in those days didn't have the ability we have now to see for ourselves. Go back and look at the original translations of those, and you will see it doesn't just mean men, it means mankind, people. And when it's saying son or daughter, it could just mean child, and often in the Bible they use woman and man as symbolic, not necessarily your physical sexual body organs, and when they're talking about virgin, they don't mean not having physical sex. They mean people who have not been corrupted by the system, by the beast system, by Satan, right? Pure in that kind of way. We did not give in to the beast system. So I think that is a really important point, because that is one of the most important comments I'm getting from one of the videos I did about the 144,000, is that people are coming and saying, but they're men, they're not women. That's not true. It's a mix of people. It's a multitude of people of all colors, all nations, both sexes, okay? And that is symbolized, even that little part is symbolized here. It's absolutely amazing. Look at that. I am not a man. She is the defender of man. That is what her name means. As well, she is 144. Don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. So here, I'm back to the sister's dream that I talked about in the last video, and we read this part right here. I want to show you, let's look really quickly at this letter line that I don't have in front of me right now, but I'll put it on the screen. And you can see here that it's talking about the grass. It's talking about the symbols that are in her dream. You see it's right here in this letter line. So it's saying the same thing. It is describing this thing. that is to happen in 2019. And that's another reason I said 2019, because it's written right here. This letter line comes from 2019. And I didn't know what it meant before, but now it's starting to kind of make sense because of this dream. So I want to show you like some other symbols in here and how I understood what it meant. At the very end, it says, when I looked around to the outside, I saw the other boy I collected from the river inside a plastic shopping store bag. And I knew that that meant something. I just didn't know what it meant. And then I woke up. I had a dream. I'm going to tell you about that dream. And then when I woke up, I saw this video. Pope Francis bags 2 more churches. So it was just God's way of explaining to me again what the bag meant. It is representing a church. So the group of people is a church, meaning a type of people, a tribe, right? That's how I knew that's what that meant. Here, the sister, I sent her the video from sharing the gifts, and she said, yeah, you're right. It is very similar to mine. It's the same, very, very similar. The only difference that bothered her was it was saying right here that they were chanting and summoning Indian spirits. And so I started thinking, well, everybody's having dreams about the submarine and the water, so could it represent a submarine? I don't know. It's just how God works. I had the thought. I looked it up, and boom, it was like right at the top. The U.S. helping India track Chinese submarines. India and the United States are working together to track Chinese submarines, and that's what the sharing gifts, that's what his dream was about. He said there were Asian people in the submarine. I'll let you read that for yourself. The reason why I put this is because it's in the Indian Ocean. India, U.S. helping India track Chinese submarines, and they were chanting Indian spirits. So my thought was, okay, so does a submarine represent a spirit? It absolutely does. Look at this, HMS Spirit pt2. And I don't have the Roger in front of me, but feel free to look that up. I'm sure it means something relevant. So it's a S-class submarine. It's a spirit. That's what they call it. And you know what? I worked on, in New York, I lived in New York for 3 years, and I worked on a boat called Spirit Cruises. I don't know why submarines or boats can be symbolized as spirits, but they are. So that answers the question about when they said they were summoning Indian spirits, they were summoning these Chinese submarines. It just goes back to support the point that there's going to be some kind of catastrophe that has to do with submarines or missiles or something like that. And that's what your dream is saying, sister. And even here, the clothes, we're just talking about how the clothes, being clothed in righteousness, I will clothe you, like in Daniel 3, protect you. In the verse we were just reading about how you have the Ephod and then you get your clothing, you know, it's right there. It's all the same message. Right down here when it's talking about if you're really good, you'll get a toy. That's exactly what happens in Trollhunters. His love interest that we're just talking about, Lexi, she gets that staff because she's fighting anger rot. She's fighting the evil powers, and so you get your weapon. And that's right here, the boy and arrow, the shooting toy. That's exactly, both of them get it. So all 3 of them get it, the 3 main characters. So that's what we need to be doing. So I was just explaining more that Lexi, her name is Greek, and then here in the dream, she says, but he was very naughty child, but he is Greek child. And I was saying that Lexi is the name for a boy, and then in the other part it was saying I'm not a man. So it's very clear about the Greek child being represented as a boy. And the toy I told you was that rod that she gets. And when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand, and I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Revelation 6. This reminded me of when the brother was singing, "Wade in the water." What is?
And then the song. It was a song that popped in my head, and it was the song, "Wade in the water." So
What does wade in the water sound like? WADE. It sounds like weight, like measured, like judged in the water. This is judgment that is coming. That is what the black horse represents in Brother Rob's vision, and the horses represent here in the sisters' dream that we saw earlier. And I'm going to explain why the black and the brown in just one second. Sister, if you're watching this video, I do want to explain this end part, but it's not really important for what I'm talking about now, so we'll come back to that at another time. Let's keep going forward. So as sharing the gifts right here in this video, he was talking about his dream. That's the same as the sister that we've been talking about from South Africa, her dream. And I wanted you to notice the words of wade in the water, children. That's why in your dream, sister, they were children in the water. And God's going to trouble the water. So that's why we're saying about the Chinese submarines and the missile and all that stuff is going to happen and take a group of us out. We're 5 groups. One is going to be going home soon. And the dressed in red, we said how important that was because it was from a number in the Black Mirror video that we did. And we had a confirmation because you had the 2 twins and one died. One we assume was sacrificed at the World Trade Tower, the Oculus building. And we were talking about the Mark of the Beast, and in that video, all of that is there. And so we were talking about red. We've been talking about red a lot. Wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water. So you have white and you have blue. So you have 1, 2. You already have 3 stones. Is that the red, white, and blue? Wow, that's so creepy. That could be the American flag. That could be the colors of the stones. That could be so many things. Must be children that's coming through. So that's why I was saying the group of us are going to pass in the dimension through the water to heaven, right? We're coming through. God's going to trouble the water. What's very interesting is you don't believe that I've been redeemed. Wade in the water, just like the whole lake goes looking for me. God's going to trouble the water. I'm about to get the Holy. Ooh, okay, keep it focused. What is the main character's name? His name is Jim Lake, Jim, which could be Jim and Lake. We just talked in the whole first part of the video about the meanings, the different meanings of lake and water and all of that. What does that say right here? Lake is going to come looking for me. Goes looking for me. You know why? Because at the end, when he comes back representing Jesus and the 144,000 for the rapture to get everybody. To get those people who, the 5th group that dies in this tragedy that's going to happen, I'm sure they're going to be in heaven, but their bodies are going to be here. And at the end, he comes back and he's getting everybody, their bodies and everything. Everything's going up. Lake is coming to look for me. And that's the very end of the Trollhunters. When you watch it, that is the last part is when James is coming back for Armageddon. And you don't believe we've been redeemed because this is judgment. Wade in the water. Judged, the black horse. Oh, orange. To dream of the color orange represents power. Using power or leverage to get what you want. It may also reflect beliefs, So this is what the color orange means, because the sister, she said they were dressed in orange, but I already explained in the last video that they were captives and the Bible verse that explains that. But I also wanted to say orange is the new black. And Caleb, when you put Caleb backwards, it says black. Black. Okay. It represents the fact it's not about skin color. I think it represents in this judgment that's going to happen, this one group is going to be judged. Some of them are going to go to heaven, but some of them are saved, like in her dream. We go in and we pull them out the river. Some of them that were naughty, they become really, really good, right? And some of the people are fine. So I don't know, but the people that are fine, they're probably just saints. They're good people, but they're just not in the fight right now, but they will be after. And so these people who come out of the river are the new Calebs. They join us, the ones that are on the grass already, they join us. So orange is the new black, Caleb, black backwards. We come together after this catastrophe. That's what I see. If you guys think I'm making this up, that's fine, but it's very clear to me. Clancy Brown is Gunmar. So Gunmar represents Satan in this cartoon. And he's in the Darklands, which is the apocalypse. It's after tribulation when Jesus comes back for Armageddon. And the actor's name is Clancy Brown. And that would be my guess as to why the horses in the sister's dream were black and brown. So you have one that's judgment and one is, I guess, one judgment that's good judgment and one judgment that's, bad. I don't know, but brown. So the horse was black and brown. There you go. That's where you get the brown from. And then the brother's dream, he said the black horse will come back to get us. So probably means he'll come back to judge us, because the woman of Revelation 12 to go to Troll Market. So we'll have to go through a judgment. This is all pre-judgment. So here we're still talking about these archetypes. We talked about Jem. We talked about her, him. So there's only two people left. It's this one and this one. In this video anyway. In the next one, I have to talk about the evil people and then the symbolisms, but that's coming up later. So Toby is the best friend, and he is with him from the beginning. And as he goes through the struggle, his weapon that he gets is the magical war hammer, right? So we will be getting these gifts, we will be getting these powers as we prove ourselves. They're challenges that we have to overcome, we have to rise above, we have to get through. It's what's going to make us sharp and give us our gifts, our stones. So when you look at Charlie Saxton, Charlie means free and Saxman means swordsman. Is not my word like fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer which shatters a rock. He gets the war hammer. Jeremiah 50:51, he says, "You are my war club, my weapon of war, and with you I shatter nations, and with you I destroy kingdoms." We are his weapon. We are his Ephod to bring down this evil system, the beast system. He has the victory when he died on Calvary. He already has the victory. We're talking about the harvest, bringing all the children together and bringing down this beast system so that New Jerusalem can come back. That's what we're talking about now. Right here, one of the group's Tobies. Okay, so next, let's talk about Enrique. Jimmy Wood as not Enrique, that's his name, the changeling replacing Enrique. So I told you that they take the humans, they put them somewhere else, and they take over their place. So it's representing demons inside of humans. So this not Enrique is a baby demon possessing the little brother of Alexi, the love interest of Jim, okay, one of the 144. So I thought it was funny when I was watching the show that they call him not Enrique. Now let me explain this real quick. I had a dream. It was just the other day, 5/5, and that's not Prince. I don't know if I have time to play the dream. Maybe, let's see, maybe I will.
So all I remember is the end of this dream. It was like a scavenger hunt, but for singing. So it was like a way to teach people as well. It was this copy, this paper, and everybody had a different piece of paper, and only the teacher had the complete paper with all the lyrics. And so you had to, it was like a musical or something, but you didn't know your part. You had to sing your part. You had clues or information on the paper, and everybody had a different paper, and so that's how you were singing. So we were going through this like maze, like a scavenger hunt type of maze or something, physically like singing this song and singing your part from the clues that you have on the paper. And then I saw the teacher, and he had the whole puzzle together. It was Tom York. I might beep out his name, but it was him, and I was kind of jealous, and I wanted that paper. I was going to make a copy because I wanted to do the class myself. And I had a part, and I was singing and everything, but it was very difficult to sing and, to know what was going on. I mean, just imagine you're doing a musical, but you don't know anything. All you got is this paper, and you have to like sing and be on cue and dance, and you don't know nothing. But it was working, and it was pretty cool. And then I saw these people. I guess they've already been doing it a while when I came in, and so these people were doing this musical thing, and it was so great, and it was down, it was perfect. And one of the people was Prince. And it was like the last part of the musical piece, and Prince, and he turned, and he was so cool, and he was just so cool doing his thing. But then I looked closer at him, he was all dressed in purple, I mean, everything. And I was like, that's not Prince. It was a Jewish man in black makeup, dressed as Prince, with like, fake beard, like glued on his face and everything. And you could tell because it just, like his nose, it looked like, I can't think, I'm going to put a picture of the actor. It's an actor I'm thinking of. And it looked like this actor with black makeup on, or, not even black, but just like really dark foundation. Or not really dark, because, Prince wasn't dark, but darker than his skin foundation. And he looked, if you didn't know Prince and if you didn't pay attention, this guy would have passed. You would have thought he was Prince because of the way he was dressed, all in purple with the purple hat and his attitude and everything. He was so cool. And and I don't know why I don't know if we were on a subway or I don't know where we were, but all of a sudden I don't know. But there were other people around watching the show. And I was like, that's not Prince. And other black people, I mean, there were people, all kind of mixed people, but I mean, I remember seeing a black man specifically stand up, and I was like, that's not Prince. And then he went over there to look at him, and then I don't know if he was like, yeah, you're right, or I don't remember. That was the end of the dream, and I woke up. I said, that's a Jewish man dressed with dark makeup on. And they were like, yeah, you're right. Because you really would not tell if you didn't really, really look closely.
Okay, so in the dream, you see that it looked just like Prince, but it wasn't. And it has something to do with those right here. Look at those who belong to the synagogue of Satan, who claim to be Jews but are liars instead. I will make them come and bow at your feet, and they will know that I have loved you. So there are a group of people out there, I'm not saying any names,
who claim to be Jews and they are not, and they will not acknowledge that we are Hebrew. And that's fine, because Yeshua Hamashiach will come back and he will straighten all this stuff out when he wants to. Until then, that's not my concern either. My concern is getting my gems, getting my toy, and getting people out the river until we get to go to Trollville, okay, or Troll Market. So that's my only point. That's all I need to be thinking about. So Enrique is representing these people right here, okay, the counterfeit people, and the false, everything that's false, the false messengers, the false everything, right, the lie. That's what that is, not Enrique. So wood and stone, in the book of Deuteronomy, as the children of Israel were about to enter the promised land, Shem tells them of a time in the far future when they will be exiled among the nations for sins against Hashem and for breaking the covenant. During the long exiles, they would abandon faith in God and Israel and would be disobedient to the Torah and they received on Mount Sinai. Hashem said that they would serve the gods of wood and stone. Hashem will scatter you among the people, and you will be left few in number among the nations where Hashem will lead you. There you will serve gods, the handiwork of men, of wood and stone, which do not see and do not hear and do not eat and do not smell. So we're gonna stop here. In the part 3, we're going to talk about the archetypes, the symbols, the stones, and the 4 groups with the upheaval. I'm gonna explain to you this story about the Agat. Then later, I like I said, this story is so big. I don't even know how many parts it's going to be, and I don't even know. I'm just trying to fit everything into the puzzle. So for the moment, this is what I think we're going to talk about. But you know, God is giving me more information every day, so we'll see. So in the meantime, you have a lot of stuff to look at and think about and pray on and sleep on and talk about with what I've presented this weekend. Please, if you have time, look at Trollhunters, because it will, now that you're starting to get an idea of what everything represents, you're gonna see what this is, God telling us what is going to happen. He's given us the timeline, the 2 timelines that I put them both on my website right now, by the way, since I'm here, just five minutes. So here's the website, and I say I'm putting more and more letter lines every weekend or every week. This is the timeline here. If you click here to see the video, and I put here another timeline. This is the numbers 1336 one. So you click on that link, and it takes you to the timeline. So here's the hidden timeline of 132633. As usual, it's a work in process, so nothing is definitive yet. It won't be done until between 2023, 2025, and it won't be proven until 2029, so we got time. But in the meantime, this is what I have. You can click here for the video playlist, and then you can see each year, and then you can click here and you get the letter line. So it's all here. So the Father is giving us the timeline, exactly what's going to happen. So there's no confusion, there's no question. It should be very, very clear, and He will prove this to you. He will give you the signs, the symbols, and the dreams, and show you in your own life, so you know that this is true if you are of the 4 groups, right? There you go. I'll continue. I pray that you are well. I thank you, Holy Father, so much for this message. I pray that the people who need to hear this, I pray that they receive the message, and I pray that we all that you bless us and give us victory in doing our duty here on earth, so that we may be successful in the duties that you have given us to do here on earth. In Yeshua Hamashiach's holy name, we praise you, we thank you. Thank you for watching this video, brothers and sisters, and I will see you soon. Shalom.